There is a fruit that fed humanity for 10,000 years. It sustained pharaohs, philosophers, and peasants. Ancient texts praised it as the fruit of paradise. Armies marched on it. Civilizations rose, eating it daily. Then, in 1968, one scientist published one study, and overnight, this fruit became poison. Not because people were dying, because the data fit a theory. A theory that launched a trillion-dollar industry and rewrote nutrition science for 50 years. But the theory was wrong. The fruit was never the problem, and the evidence proving it has existed since the beginning, buried in footnotes, ignored in favor of profit. This is the story of the fruit that science demonized, corporations exploited, and your ancestors knew was safe all along. Welcome to LeafVault. Before we open this vault, if these stories matter to you, the best way to preserve this wisdom is simple. Subscribe, hit the bell, and share these vaults with those who need to remember what we forgot. The archive opens in the Indus Valley. 2500 BCE. The Harappan civilization cultivates a tree bearing golden fruit with flesh so rich it can be pressed into oil. They call it the liquid sun. In Mesopotamia, cuneiform tablets record workers receiving rations of this fruit. In Egypt, pharaohs are entombed with jars of its oil for the afterlife. The Greeks call it the golden apple, Athena's sacred tree. Homer writes of Odysseus finding groves of it on distant shores. The Romans spread it across their empire. Pliny the Elder catalogues 15 varieties. Soldiers carry it in leather pouches. Gladiators rub its oil on their skin before battle. For thousands of years, this fruit is medicine, food, wealth, and culture. The olive, Alea europea, the tree that defines the Mediterranean. Its fruit contains 75% oil by weight, monounsaturated fat, primarily oleic acid. For millennia, people consume it without question. Whole olives, pressed oil, in bread, in fish, on salads, by the cupful. The ancient Cretans consume a quarter of their daily calories from olive oil. Studies in the 1960s show they have the lowest heart disease rates on Earth. Their diet is 40% fat. By modern standards, they should be dead, but they live longer than almost anyone. Then comes Ansel Keys, American physiologist, University of Minnesota. In 1958, he publishes the 7-country study. He measures diet and heart disease across 7 nations: Greece, Italy, Yugoslavia, Finland, Netherlands, Japan, United States. He finds a correlation. Countries eating more saturated fat have more heart disease. But Keys does something unusual. He does not publish data from all the countries he studied. He studied 22 countries. He published 7. France, with high saturated fat and low heart disease, is excluded. Switzerland, same pattern, excluded. West Germany, excluded. The countries that do not fit the hypothesis disappear from the paper. This is called cherry picking, and it works. The American Heart Association adopts Keys' hypothesis in 1961. Saturated fat causes heart disease. By extension, all fat becomes suspect, even olive oil. In 1968, the U.S. Department of Agriculture releases new dietary guidelines. Fat is the enemy. Americans are told to reduce all fat intake. Olive oil, butter, eggs, meat, replace them with carbohydrates, bread, pasta, low-fat products. The food industry responds. Low-fat cookies, low-fat salad dressing, fat-free yogurt loaded with sugar. Olive oil, once a staple, becomes a luxury for the health-conscious few. But the Mediterranean people never stopped eating it, and their heart disease rates stay low. By the 1980s, the Mediterranean diet becomes a phenomenon. Researchers cannot ignore it. Greeks, Italians, Spaniards eat fat, lots of it. And they are healthier than Americans eating low-fat diets. In 1986, the World Health Organization investigates. They find populations consuming 100 grams of olive oil per day. That is 900 calories of fat, nearly half their daily intake. Their cholesterol is fine. Their hearts are fine. Their cancer rates are lower. Their diabetes rates are lower. They live longer. The data contradicts everything Keyes claimed, but the damage is done. Olive oil is already classified as a high-fat food. Suspect something to limit. Then corporations see opportunity. In the 1990s, seed oil production explodes. Soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil, sunflower oil. Industrially extracted using hexane solvents and high heat. Marketed as heart-healthy because they are low in saturated fat. Cheap to produce. Long shelf life. The American Heart Association endorses them. Olive oil, expensive and perishable, is pushed to the margins. A gourmet product, not a staple. The oils replacing it are chemically unstable, oxidize rapidly, and produce inflammatory compounds when heated. But they are profitable, and profit drives guidelines. In 2010, a meta-analysis reviews 21 studies covering 347,747 people. The conclusion? No significant evidence that saturated fat increases heart disease risk. The researchers call for revaluation of dietary guidelines. The guidelines do not change. In 2014, another review in the Annals of Internal Medicine. 76 studies, over 600,000 participants. Same result. Saturated fat is not the villain. The American Heart Association responds by doubling down. Fat remains restricted. Olive oil remains limited in official recommendations. Why? Because admitting error means dismantling a half-century of policy. It means acknowledging that millions followed bad advice. That industries profited from bad science. That the fruit humanity ate for 10,000 years was never dangerous. But olive oil is not just fat. It contains over 200 bioactive compounds. Polyphenols like oleuropeon, hydroxytyrosol, and oleocanthal. These molecules are weapons. In lab studies, they kill cancer cells. Breast, colon, prostate, leukemia. They do not kill healthy cells, just cancer. Oleocanthal acts like ibuprofen, reducing inflammation without side effects. A study in 2005 shows 50 grams of olive oil has the anti-inflammatory power of 10% of an ibuprofen dose. Consume it daily, and chronic inflammation drops. Inflammation drives heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, arthritis. Olive oil fights all of them. The polyphenols also protect the brain. Studies on mice show olive oil prevents amyloid plaque formation, the hallmark of Alzheimer's. Human trials in Spain follow 7,447 people for 5 years. Those consuming a liter of olive oil per week have 30% lower cognitive decline. Their memory stays sharp. The risk of dementia drops. This is not a drug. This is food. Food we call dangerous, and the cardiovascular effects. The Pre-Dimed study in Spain, 2013. 7,447 participants at high risk for heart disease. Randomly assigned 3 diets: low-fat, Mediterranean with nuts, Mediterranean with extra virgin olive oil, 1 liter per week. The olive oil group reduces stroke risk by 40%, heart attack risk by 30%. Total mortality drops. The study is so successful it is stopped early. Denying the low-fat group olive oil becomes unethical. They are dying more. The fruit Keyes demonized saves lives when consumed in massive quantities. But here is the critical detail. The benefits come from extra virgin olive oil. First, cold press. No heat, no chemicals, no refining. This oil retains the polyphenols, the antioxidants, the bioactive compounds. Refined olive oil, stripped of these, loses most benefits. Light olive oil, pure olive oil. These are marketing terms for degraded oil. The ancient Greeks did not refine. They crushed olives between stones and collected what dripped out. That oil, dark green, bitter, peppery, was medicine. The oil on supermarket shelves today, light yellow and flavorless, is not the same food. So why did science get it wrong? Because Keyes measured fat, not food. He treated olive oil the same as lard, butter, margarine. He ignored the matrix, the whole food context. Olive oil comes with polyphenols. Butter comes with vitamin K2 and conjugated linoleic acid. Lard from pasture-raised pigs contains vitamin D, but industrial nutrition science strips food to macros: fat, protein, carbs. It ignores phytonutrients, synergistic effects, preparation methods. It reduces an olive, a fruit that evolved over millions of years, 2 grams of oleic acid. This reductionism is not science. It is ideology, and the ideology serves industry. Low-fat guidelines created a $100 billion market for processed foods. Fat-free cookies, low-fat yogurt, seed oils in everything. These products are cheap to produce and generate massive profit. Olive oil, by contrast, requires land, trees, labor, and time. An olive tree takes 15 years to mature. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be patented. It cannot be industrialized the same way. So the guidelines favor what corporations can sell, not what humans need. The pattern repeats. Butter was replaced by margarine, a trans fat disaster that killed millions before being banned. Coconut oil, used in tropical regions for millennia, was called dangerous, replaced by soybean oil. Now studies show coconut oil raises HDL, the good cholesterol, and has antimicrobial properties. Lard, traditional cooking fat, was replaced by Crisco hydrogenated vegetable oil. Crisco was marketed as clean, modern, scientific. It was poison. Traditional fats, demonized. Industrial fats, endorsed. The pattern is not accidental. Olive oil survived because Mediterranean people refused to abandon it. It is identity, culture. You cannot be Greek without olive oil. You cannot be Italian without it. Spanish cuisine collapses without it. The fruit was too embedded to erase, but it was sidelined, made expensive, treated as indulgence, not necessity. And Americans, following guidelines, replaced it with oils extracted from seeds that humans never ate in significant quantities until 1950. The health consequences are visible. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, autoimmune disorders, all rising in lockstep with seed oil consumption. While Mediterranean populations still consuming olive oil, still eating the way their ancestors did, remain healthier. In 2018, the New England Journal of Medicine publishes the Cordiopref study. 1,002 coronary disease patients. 2 diets, low-fat, Mediterranean with olive oil. 7 years of follow-up. The olive oil group has 30% fewer cardiovascular events. Fewer heart attacks, fewer strokes, fewer deaths. The low-fat group, following official guidelines, fares worse. The evidence is overwhelming. The guidelines remain unchanged, because changing them means admitting the last 60 years were wrong. It means economic disruption. It means lawsuits. It means loss of credibility for institutions that built empires on bad data. But the truth does not need institutions. It lives in the people who never stopped eating olives. In the Spanish grandmother who pours olive oil on everything. In the Greek fisherman who drinks a shot of it before breakfast. In the Italian farmer who presses his own olives every November. They did not wait for studies. They did not need scientists to tell them what their bodies already knew. The fruit that fed their ancestors feeds them, and they are healthier for it. The olive was never reclassified officially. It was just forgotten, removed from conversation, made irrelevant by guidelines that favor industry over evidence. But the data proving its safety and benefits has existed since the beginning. The Cretans consuming 40% of calories from olive oil with the lowest heart disease on Earth. That was published in 1960, before Keyes cherry-picked his data. The information was there. It was ignored. Because it did not fit the narrative that would build an industry. Now the narrative is crumbling. Studies accumulate. The Mediterranean diet is endorsed. Olive oil is rehabilitated. But rehabilitated is the wrong word. It was never guilty. It was accused without evidence, convicted by ideology, and sentenced to irrelevance by profit motives. The fruit that built civilizations that sustained humanity through empires and wars does not need redemption. It needs recognition. Recognition that traditional foods eaten by healthy populations for millennia do not become toxic because one scientist says so. That wisdom is not superstition. That maybe, just maybe, our ancestors were not idiots. The olive tree still grows. In Greece, in Spain, in California. Its roots dig deep. Its branches spread wide. It produces fruit whether we understand it or not. The knowledge lives in the oil. In every bottle pressed from ancient groves. In every dish drizzled with gold. In every culture that refused to let go. The fruit was never the problem. The theory was. And theories, unlike trees, cannot survive when their roots are lies. If this vault opened something for you, subscribe to LeafVault and hit the bell. Every like and every share preserves what they tried to erase. The next vault opens soon.